Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to the Rim Country Republican Club meet and greet, where you'll be able to meet some politicians. You'll meet some of your elected leaders and people who want to become your elected leaders. We also have Rummage for sale. If you see any Rummage here that strikes your eye, I'd advise you to pick it up before the next guy gets it ahead of you. We also have over here, we have the muffins. We got lots of muffins, we got lots of cookies, we have pastries of all sorts and description. We've got some homemade prickly pear jelly made right here in Rim Country by Rim Country hands with Rim Country prickly pears. We have some live plants. We're also having a raffle here today, folks. We're raffling off a basket of items that includes 400 rounds of .223 ammunition. So if you're a shoot in that caliber, I'd like you to come over here, get where the sign says raffle, and get some raffle tickets. 400 rounds of .223 ammunition is an awful lot of ammo, and I think that you'll enjoy shooting it up. We have a silent auction. We have some books, and we do have politicians here for you to meet today. We have Rick Gray and Bob Burns, who are both contesting the office of Corporation Commissioner. And so please sign their petitions. We have other people here who are in the political realm, so take an opportunity to meet with them and get some Rummage. This is a fundraiser for the Rim Country Republican Club. If you don't see any Rummage you like, we certainly would accept just a plain donation. So thank you for coming today. I hope you have fun. Get a cookie, get a muffin, get some pastries, buy a book, and participate in our silent auction. We got a lot of stuff going on here today, folks. I hope you have a good time. This is the Rim Country Republican Club. Thank you. His Honor Brian Chambers, and he's here with us today. He'd like to say a few words and say hello to all the happy shoppers. Judge Chambers. Pleasure to see you.
Well, good morning. First, I'd like to say it's a pleasure to be here up at Mason. It's always nice to be up here in the cool pine area. Okay. I wanted to speak just a few words. As many of you know, I was appointed by Governor Doug Ducey to be Superior Court Judge. That's going to take effect on Monday. So Monday at 1:15 p.m. I'll be sworn in down in Globe at the courthouse in Judge Wright's courtroom. In fact, Judge Wright's going to be the one swearing me in. So I'm looking forward to that. One of the things that's kind of interesting about being a judge in a rural county is in Arizona, the state constitution provides that we have nonpartisan elections for judges, but at the same time, the judges run in partisan primaries. So this time, actually a little less than 52 weeks from now, I'll be in the August Republican primary running for a Superior Court Judge, Division I. But then in the general election, I hope to be in the general election after the primary, there will be no party designation by my name or anyone else's name that's running for judge. So it's kind of an interesting situation there. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the process that I went through to be appointed by Governor Ducey. And actually, before I do that, I want to explain that one of the judges do have certain ethical considerations, canons of judicial conduct that they have to follow. And one of them basically provides that judges cannot advocate for other candidates or even for a political party. So they have to stay neutral on a lot of things. And I don't want anything that I say today to be taken as I'm advocating for anyone else, but I think it's important for you to know the process that the governor went through and what that was like, because it was an incredible experience. Judge Cahill resigned at the end of June. He had been serving as Superior Court judge. In fact, he was the presiding judge before Judge Wright. And so the governor's office put out a notice for people who were interested in replacing Judge Cahill and finishing the rest of his term. Now that application that the governor had like 91 questions that had to be answered. Many of them were multi-part questions. So the application was dozens and dozens of pages by the time it was done. There were places for 15 to 17 different references that you had to come up with. And I can tell you that, because I heard from people that I used as references, that the governor's staff actually did call people. And so when you consider the size of our county, certainly we have an important county, but we've got like 54,000 people in the county. The state of Arizona is well over 6 million people. We have less than 1% of the population. The governor, who is a very busy man, and his staff, they are incredibly busy. They took the time to thoroughly vet the candidates that they had for judge. Wanted to speak just a minute about what it was like to actually meet with Governor Ducey. I know a lot of you have, maybe not all of you. And this was my first time to personally speak with the governor. Met with him down at the State Capitol Tower down in Phoenix, and I got there early. I'm from Globe, and traveling from Globe, and even more so than if you're traveling to the Capitol from Payson. I mean, the Beeline's a very nice road. Our highway isn't quite as good as the Beeline is, so you never know when you might face traffic. So I got there about 20 minutes early. They send you up to a reception area on the next to the highest floor of the Capitol building. And I waited there until one of the governor's staff came down to get me to go up and meet with the governor. I got to his office, or at least where he meets people before he did, and started talking to his chief legal counsel and the deputy chief legal counsel. And then promptly at noon, which was the time the interview was supposed to start, in walks Governor Ducey. And if you've ever had the experience of meeting with him, you know when he walks into the room that he's the governor. I mean, he doesn't have to have a name tag that says Governor Ducey. And even if you'd never seen his picture before, you would know that he was the governor when he walks in the room. He has that kind of presence. And I say that in a good way. I think it's a good thing. You also might think, okay, well, if he's interviewing judges, what's he going to do? Is he just going to have his legal staff, and he's got attorneys and very bright people working for him. Is he going to have them ask all the questions? Governor Ducey ran the interview. He asked all the questions. You knew when you were sitting there that you needed to be talking to the governor. And let me tell you a couple of things that he asked about, because I think that gives you some idea of what was important to him, and I'll comment on those as well. One thing that I was impressed with, he was very concerned about victims of crimes. He wanted, and he asked a number of questions about crime victims. And the thing that I told him was that, with crime victims, they didn't ask to become victims, and so they have, they're part of the process, not because they wanted to be, but because they were brought into the process. And so we talked about the importance of crime, of honoring crime victim rights and things like that. He also was you could tell that he was very interested in property rights. Many of you may be familiar with the U.S. Supreme Court case of about 10 years, or actually it's probably been about 12 years now. The Kelo case came out of Connecticut where the U.S. Supreme Court said that it was essentially okay for government to take over someone's property and then give it to another private party. He asked about that case, and so you could tell that he was very interested about property rights. He wanted to know about separation of powers. And I know a lot of you are very familiar with the concept of separation of powers, but certainly the way I see separation of powers is that each branch of government has a job to do. And our founding fathers have set up the U.S. Constitution, even our state constitution, so that by the separation of powers, each branch has a separate job to do. All the power isn't concentrated in one branch or another. And it seemed apparent that what was on his mind was that that was the way it should be, that each branch should do what it was designed to do. So you have judges being judges, deciding, interpreting the laws before them. You have legislatures passing the laws, governors signing them, etc. So I can tell you without going, the interview, he actually took it was nearly an hour long, which I think showed, again, his concern about justice issues in Gila County, one of the smallest counties in the state. And again, like I said before, I'm not trying to, I just think it's interesting to, and I think people should have some idea of how that appointment process worked. A few days after the interview, I received a call from the governor's office and learned that I would get the appointment. I just want to express some gratitude to maybe to finish up. I'm grateful for the opportunity that I have had to be in the county attorney's office the past 23 years, working for 5 different elected county attorneys. I'm grateful for the opportunities they've given me. I think one thing that's neat about working in a county attorney's office is you do have a great opportunity to do justice. When you often, when you think of attorneys, you think of attorneys arguing vehemently in favor of their side. When you're in a county attorney's office, you do argue for your side, but you have a greater duty, and that's to see that justice is done. And sometimes that might mean dismissing a case. But your job is to see that justice is done. And I'm grateful that I've had the opportunity from Brad Beauchamp and all the others that I've worked for to be able to be in the county attorney's office these last 23 years. I'm also, I do need to say thanks to Judge Wright. Being in the position of Superior Court judge, there is no, there's no requirement necessarily that the judges work together all that closely or try to help each other out. I can tell you that since I've been appointed, Judge Wright has gone out of his way to make sure that I have ideas of what's going on and how things can be done to efficiently run the courtroom. So I certainly appreciate his help with that. I also would like to express gratitude to many of you. I've been up to the Republican Club a couple of times. I came out and spoke about Magna Carta and the 800th anniversary of Magna Carta to the Tea Party up here, and had a chance to visit with a lot of you, and I'm grateful for the encouragement and for the support that I've received from you. That said, and sometimes I've been accused of going on too long, and I'm probably starting to get there now, I do just want to finish with words that you're all familiar with, but I think are important to keep in mind. In the U.S. Constitution, the very first words of that sacred document are, "We the people, in order to form, the United States of America, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice." And so, justice is the very first stated goal in the Constitution. And I believe that justice is really the glue that holds society together. The justice that we have set up, that our founding fathers set up more than a couple hundred years ago, has been copied and emulated throughout the world. And where they've done that well, society has worked out well. Where they've tried but it hasn't quite worked out and they haven't been able to duplicate it, things have not worked out as well. And justice is the type of thing that is, I mean, it's not like you can just get it once and then you've got it forever. You've got to keep working at justice for justice to work. And I believe that as a Superior Court judge, I'll be able to play a role in seeing that justice happens that whoever goes in front of the court has the opportunity to appear in front of an impartial judge who is concerned about justice. And I pledge to you that I will do all in my power to be that judge and to be fair to all those who appear in front of me. Again, thank you for your support. In a few months I'll be coming around with petitions and asking for some more support there. But I appreciate this opportunity to be able to speak with you. Thank you. And we have a question. Yeah.
Now, when I go down for jury duty, do I have to tell them that I met you?
You know, you are certainly welcome to tell them that you met me. You know, one nice thing about jury duty, and I've tried, I think I've tried about 39 cases, felony cases that ended up being decided by a jury. And the thing that has impressed me is how the citizens of our county, and particularly, I get that it's a challenge for people up here in northern Gila County to drive 87 miles or however far it is down to Globe to appear for jury duty. But I thank you for your service. Again, justice is the glue that keeps our society working. Our society cannot be held together without justice, and the jury system is a critical part of that. So I understand it's a sacrifice, but I applaud you for being willing to take that sacrifice. I do know, and we've seen trends of this in the courts. We have seen that in a number of cases, especially if all the witnesses are up here in Payson, they've been picking juries in Globe and then moving up to Payson in some cases to try the rest of the case. And certainly I'm in favor of having the court facilities we need up here in Payson. I know Judge Wright is working on that so that we can do more of that. So that's a great question.
I think you touched on this, maybe you answered already. Having served on jury duty and getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be there before 8 o'clock in the morning, it makes it a very long day. We work till 7. And I think we're supposed to be a jury of your peers. Now, is the person living in Globe a peer of a person living in Payson? Are those considered peers? Same county, same state. They're different peers. Are they considered peers in different communities?
Legally, they are considered peers.
Okay. So there is a movement to try to get people in Payson having Payson cases and Globe, same thing there?
Well, I think right now, I think what we've seen, and again, we have some issues with facilities in Payson, and I know Judge Wright is working on that. I've talked to the county manager. You know, in the county attorney's office, one of my jobs was to represent the Board of Supervisors, and I know they're working on trying to get better facilities up in Payson. But I think what is very doable is that in cases where the witnesses are coming from the Payson area, that although we might have to pick a jury down in Globe under the current state of law, that the subsequent days of trial, so if it's a 3-day trial, you'd pick a jury in Globe on one day, and then the next couple of days you'd come back up to Payson. Now, you'd still have countywide juries, and so there would be people from Globe, maybe people all the way down from Hayden-Winkleman, that would be coming up for the rest of those days up to Payson to finish out the trials. So that's something certainly, I think it makes a lot of sense. If all the other witnesses and everything are from northern Gila County, it's probably easier to move a judge and some court staff and up to Payson for most of that trial than it is to make everyone else come down. But I do have, again, I have to applaud especially the people up here in northern Gila County for their willingness for so many years to come down to Globe for jury duty. So, yeah.
I just received word, I haven't examined it carefully, but I've received word that there's been a ruling, a court ruling in Minnesota or Michigan, I can't remember who it was, in which the Fully Informed Jury Association has won a case in which it is now required for judges to inform a jury that while the judge normally judges the law and the jury normally judges the facts of the case, ultimately the jury also has the right to judge the law. and to acquit a person even though he committed the alleged crime if they feel that the law is unjust or without substance. And I'd like your opinion on that.
Well,
Can you repeat the question?
okay. Let me try to repeat the question. The question was apparently in Minnesota, was that it?
Or Michigan, I forgot.
Minnesota or Michigan, one of the M states. That there was a law passed called like the fully informed jury.
No, not a law passed, a court ruling.
A court ruling, okay.
You know, because up till now, judges always say no, the
Okay,
judge can't.
So the question was, apparently there was a court ruling in Michigan or Minnesota stating that the juries had to be told that they're not only the judge of the facts, but they can also judge the law. So if they don't like a law, they can disregard it and maybe find someone not guilty, even though the law would say that they're guilty. And you wanted to know my thoughts on that. I need to be a little careful here because this is certainly an issue that could come up before me. I'm not sure that Arizona is at the same place that this Michigan or Minnesota is on the law. And I do know, what I can say is the jury instructions that we have that, and actually one interesting thing, up until Monday when I take the bench, I am State Bar President. President of the State Bar of Arizona. One of the things the State Bar does is the courts have asked the Board of Governors of the State Bar to approve the jury instructions. Now that doesn't mean the courts can't then go through and say, this may be the revised jury instruction, but we think the State Bar got it wrong, but generally speaking the courts follow the jury instructions, and the current jury instructions do not provide for a judge to say you can completely disregard the law. And in fact, juries would be instructed that they need to follow the law as it is.
And ultimately, the juries do have that right.
Well, and again,
this
this is the type of thing that could come in front of me in the future, so okay. I should not express an opinion on that one way or another, but it is an interesting issue, and there are a lot of people that have been talking about it. So, any other questions while I'm up here? Again, I probably talked too long, but thanks a lot, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Folks, that's our own Judge Brian Chambers, Republican, Superior Court Judge, and thank you so much for addressing us today, Judge. We also have some other people here today that might be interested in addressing the group. Susan, you want to step up? Susan Bittersmith. Susan is the current member of the Corporation Commission. And just a moment. Oh, and in celebration of Susan Bittersmith's address, all prices are now half price, half price, half price, half price. Susan Bittersmith is making this possible, folks. Whatever the price of the rummage, it is now 50% of that. So, yeah, not the cookies, but all the rummage. That only applies to the rummage. Okay. And now we have Susan Bittersmith, who's a sitting member of the Corporation Commission. And Susan, I think maybe people are confused about what the Corporation Commission is and does, and maybe you could let us know.
Well, good morning, and thank you to, I'm going to be in the camera angle. Good morning. Thank you to Rim Country Republicans for having me here this morning. And I want to mention the fact that I am not alone. We have other commissioners here, so I won't talk too long. I want to make sure you're going to hear in the next few minutes from fellow commissioners Bob Burns, a candidate, we've got candidates here, Rick Gray, and Commissioner Doug Little is here. He's not even on the ballot, but he is here. So feel free to I'm sure they'll make comments, and feel free to ask questions of them as well. The half-price sale, by the way, is a good conservative thing to do, so I'm delighted that happened in my opening comments. I do want to just briefly tell you what the Commission does. Although, given the fact that all summer all Republican commissioners have been uniformly attacked by the newspaper, perhaps you do know a little more about us than you did a couple of years ago. We are the body, and we act as judges. As the judge mentioned, some things we can't talk about because we are in pending decisions, but we are the arbitrators of regulated monopoly utility rates. We regulate private water companies. We regulate securities, pipeline safety, and underground and railroad crossings. So we have a mixture of things. In many other states, it's called the Public Utilities Commission. I just want to mention that you do have all Republicans on the Corporation Commission at this point, and quite frankly, it's been a great opportunity to make some very needed reforms at the Commission in the state of Arizona. But of course, when you do those, you do draw fire. And as I suggested, all 5 of us have been the topic of newspaper reports, primarily because we're doing the things that I think you wanted us to do. We're pushing back the EPA's Clean Power Plan rules, the Obama administration's attempt to cut back on your opportunities for cheap fuel. We have aggressively moved forward on that. We've done some great water rate reforms. We are moving forward to continue to work on opportunities to make sure that we have reliable and affordable renewable energy, but not at the sacrifice of those of you that are using the grid. So it's a mixture of opportunities, a mixture of issues. I am delighted to serve on the commission. We are up for re-election, several of us. Bob Burns and I ran with Commissioner Bob Stump, seems like just yesterday, but in 2012. Our terms are up in 2016, so Bob and I are running for re-election, which leaves 1 open seat, and Rick Gray is here running for that open seat. I'd love for you to hear from all of them. I would love for you to also talk to Doug Little. We have petitions. We are ahead of the curve. We've got petitions, and we actually have the forms for the $5 contributions because all of us are running under the Clean Elections proposal. Not sure the word clean is exact right, but it's the public financing mechanism so that we're not taking money from any entities that we regulate. So if you would like to sign petitions, we could certainly welcome those opportunities, and we would be delighted to take your $5, which gets us on the ballot. So with this, I have a question. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. There are some water companies, I use that term loosely, in Arizona, in this part of the country, this part of the state, who seem to not have any regulation. They seem to be regulating themselves. Are there some water companies which, because of their size or the type of makeup they are do not have any regulation over them?
The question was, are there some water companies in Arizona that are not regulated? And the answer is, obviously, cities provide water service. Those are regulated by cities. But any private water company in Arizona should be regulated by the Arizona Corporation Commission. So if you have complaints about water service and rates, please call me or Bob or Doug, and we're happy to get you answers. We do have over 400 small private water companies in the state of Arizona that are regulated, and it is one of the biggest challenges in the state. We're working on an opportunity to make sure some of those are consolidated, because with consolidation you get better service and potentially lower rates, but very, very challenging. So please, if you do have private water company issues, do not hesitate to contact us, and we'll be happy to help you. So with that, thank you so much for having me. Give us your signatures. Those are free. If you have an extra $5, now that things are half price, we'll take those too for our Clean Elections Fund. Thank you so much.
Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you. Boy, the elected officials keep showing up and pouring in. Next up, I'd like to welcome to the microphone Payson's own Shirley Dye. Shirley will be speaking in her guise as a member of the Northern Gila County Sanitation District.
Sanitary District.
Sanitary District. I never get that quite right. And there's big doings at the Sanitary District. And Shirley, welcome aboard, and thank you for being here today. And what's going on with the Sanitary District in Northern Gila County?
Lots it has been going on. In 2012, when I was recruited to run for the Northern Gila County Sanitary District, oh, thank you, sir. Okay. No one knew that I had worked for a sewer contractor for 15 years prior to coming here. So when they found out that I actually had some good background and some qualifications, they went, score, we actually have someone that's qualified. So anyhow, at that time, the business community was really concerned about the $5,240 or whatever it was impact fee that was being paid into the county sanitary district by builders in order to build a home or for new businesses. And so there were two other gentlemen and I that were running for two different seats, and somehow they lost, but I was able to get in. And one of the people that was rerunning was reinstalled, and I took the place of one of the other board members. So it's me and four men, and we just have a lot of fun. I asked them, they wanted me to become a board member to shake things up, and I have done that because I ask tons of very intelligent questions, every once in a while a stupid one. But the really good news is, over the last 2 years, we have spent $13 million of the $14 million that we had saved up from those impact fees over the years. And we have doubled the capacity of the sanitary, of the plant. And we are 3/4 of the way through. We are probably going to be finished by next June with everything. And it has not cost any of the citizens of northern Gila County any other rises in your tax bill, any raising of any of the other fees, any of your service, your monthly service charges. And when we get finished with this, we will be looking at lowering the impact fees, possibly lowering the tax rate, and possibly lowering the service charge. So that's going to be on our agenda for the next term. So I don't get to, I probably will not get any signature pages to run for the sanitary district until I think it's May, because we get elected in November. We are not in the primary. And so if you will be looking for me around May, I will be asking for a signature to rerun for another 4-year term. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Shirley Dye.
Can you call him the school board member?
I will later.
I'm sorry, okay. She's here.
Thank you, Bill. She is here. She is. Shirley, thank you. And if anybody ever heads out beyond the golf course, there is all kinds of activity down there at the treatment plant. There's big doings down there. $13 million installs a lot of additional capacity. Bob Burns, would you like to step up? Another sitting member of our Corporation Commission, the Arizona Corporation Commission, Bob Burns, and this will be your second term, I believe. Yeah. Yes. Okay. We'll come right on up. Thank you for coming all the way up here to Payson today. I know that you don't live here. Shirley just has to come down the road, but you had to come up the hill, and we appreciate you coming up today.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Actually, I came across the hills, and I also live in Sedona as often as I possibly can. I would always like to do the commercial first, and Susan already mentioned this, but we definitely need signatures in order to get our names on the ballot. And then we need the $5 contributions, individual contributions, in order to qualify for the funding for the campaign. So if you are so inclined, we certainly appreciate very much having you sign the petitions and to contribute to the $5 campaign. Susan explained the commission, so there's not a lot more really to say about that, I guess. Other than the commission is called the Corporation Commission, and our biggest exposure, I guess I would say, is our public utilities action. It's much more activity in the public utilities than there is in the Corporation Commission, or in the Corporation Division. The Corporation Division is the one that registers the corporations when people want to form a corporation here in the state. As Susan mentioned, we also have a Securities Division. If there are people out there in the state of Arizona selling securities and that are not licensed or are misrepresenting their product, our Securities Division investigates that. They bring a report to us on the commission, and we rule on their recommendations relative to what the fines should be and so forth, and we have levied some significant fines against some people who are operating basically in a misrepresentation manner in the state. Also mentioned was our railroad safety and our pipeline safety. So the challenge that I see when we are taking up issues at the commission is we have typically competing interests come before us, and we have to make a judgment call and rule as best we can based on the facts that are presented by the competing interests. And so in that capacity, we are similar to the judge, and so we end up in a situation referred to as ex parte, where we cannot talk about that particular issue as long as it is active and before us. So it gets a little bit hard to get all of the information that you would like to have until sort of the last minute when the presentations are made in front of us and we have to make the judgment call. So again, I don't know that there's anything else that I could add right at the moment. Would be glad to answer any questions if you should have any. So thank you, especially thank you for having us here today, and especially thank you for all the help that you provided to us in 2012. Really do appreciate it. Yes, sir.
My name is Glenn Ross, and I was an intervener in recent water rate cases. You know, we submitted checks of money laundering where utility checks went to Brooks Utilities and the stamp Jayco Oil, and the money was laundered off and then went into the general fund. We submitted that FEMA had paid $500,000 to rebuild all that plant down there, that the company and the commission staff said it's time that the ratepayers pay back the company because they've been subsidized the ratepayers. They forgot about the $500,000 the government gave from FEMA. I submitted a motion and a claim for one homeowner down there that had been charged for 130,000 gallons of water usage from a previous renter, and the next day they come out and pulled their meter. We never get any answer from these questions, and I'm not happy about it at all. And I'm going to tell you, I don't want to embarrass Shirley and Darlene and some of the other nice folks here. They work real hard, but I'm going to tell you there's a lot to be done on the commission, and I hope to see some changes.
Well, I think my suggestion is that if you feel like that you haven't had the answer that you believe you need to continue to communicate with us. I mean, you've told me here today, but the way to continue the discussion is to, come to the commission in person or file a complaint. Probably the best thing would be to file a complaint with any one of our offices so that we can follow up on the complaint and get to the bottom of the issue.
I done that. I filed a letter with every commissioner and stamped it in the main office, and all these things we're talking about. 13 felonies we think existed between Brooks, JW Holdings, Basin Water Company, all in one, and not one answer to it. In fact, I got a letter from Bob Stump that said he was going to have the court sanction me if I continued to speak out at meetings. And I told him, I said, my family, 5 boys, all in the military. One of them's names on the wall over there in 1950, got killed in Korea, and don't never tell me not to speak out. That's all I got on it.
Well, I'm not telling you not to speak out either. I think you should take every
the
opportunity.
The files are at the commission for you to read, and I don't know if you got to read them, but they all went to you. Got a copy. I mailed it. Okay. All certified mail.
All right. Appreciate it. Okay. Any others? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Commissioner Burns, thank you so much for coming up here. Thank you for addressing us, and I'd like to point out to people who have been in here just in the last few minutes that all the market prices are now half price. All the market prices on the Rummage is now half price. That does not apply to the muffins, however. We do have muffins over here, and cookies and pastries of all sorts. Also, right here in the middle of the room, we have representatives from the Ben Carson campaign. And we have Dr. Ben Carson's book available, The Prescription for America. So these are without charge. So if anybody's interested in Dr. Carson, probably the smartest man ever to run for president, please come up and get yourself a copy of this book. It's free, which is not the same with our muffins. Our muffins you have to pay, and they're worth it. So thank you all for coming today. This is the Rim Country Republican Club meet and greet. And Deborah, oh, there she is. We have Deborah Hughes today. She's been able to come to the Rim Country Republican Club meet and greet, muffin sale, rummage sale, barbecue, and general Republican fiesta. Deborah Hughes is our tax assessor. Now let's not get confused, folks. The assessor is not the person who collects the tax or who assigns the taxes. And maybe instead of me garbling it up, maybe we'll let Deborah Hughes come up here and explain what exactly the tax assessor does. And I would like to point out that she is a Republican. She replaced a Democrat who had been in office for so long that he had moss growing in his shoes. He'd been in office for 24 years. First crack out of the box, first time candidate for public office, Deborah Hughes walloped this Democrat who had been in there for 24 years. This is exactly the kind of person that the Republican Club likes to support. So Deborah Hughes, come on up.
I just heard someone say, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. First thing I want to say, because I don't want to forget to say it, is senior freeze. If you qualify, you can freeze your values. It does not freeze your taxes, it freezes your values, and the deadline is Monday. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Senior freeze deadline is Monday. So make sure that you can go to my website, go to Gila County's website, go to the assessor, go to senior freeze. The forms are there because they must be turned in by Monday or you don't qualify for this year. And remember, it does not freeze your taxes, it freezes your value. Now what I'd like to say is I've been hearing a lot of people saying, Deborah, why are my taxes going up? I want y'all to know that no one has gotten a tax bill that reflects my numbers until this coming October. So if your taxes have gone up, the reason the taxes have gone up is because local jurisdictions is who sets the rates for the taxes. The schools, the towns, the county, and they are all maxing out their limits right now because they all need the money so badly to keep all of the infrastructure going. So when you say my taxes have been going up, please don't look at me for that because you have not gotten a tax bill that reflects me. The next thing that I would like to say to you, and I need you to really listen to this because this is really, really important, because the assessors are trying to take this to legislature next year. The reason that you have not gotten a tax bill that reflects on me is because of the way state statute is, and we are trying to change the state statute. The way it is set up right now, this past March, end of February, beginning of March, you got your notice of value in the mail. That notice of value was the first number that you got from me, Deborah Hughes. The notice of value, when we set that notice of value, the notice of value that you received this past February is for your taxes for next year in 2017. Where those values come from is the assessors has to, by statute, go back 18 months to 24 months to be able to look at the sales that happened 18 months to 24 months prior to sending you that notice that you're going to pay taxes on next year. So we're talking 4 years difference from the time that you're actually paying the tax bill. It's ridiculous. So what the assessors are trying to do is take it to legislature and get a 1-year roll. We're trying to get a roll that when you get your notice of value in February, in October, you're going to pay that bill. And we're going to look at values in the prior year. It's not going to be going back 2 years to give you a notice now for a tax bill next year. We are trying to get around and speak to everyone about this. We're speaking at the Tea Party in October. We're speaking at the Board of Realtors. I have given them contact to contact the Republican Club. I'm hoping that we're going to get to speak there so everyone understands what it's all about. But I want you to know that also one more thing that you need to remember is since Prop 117, this tax year is the first tax year that you are paying taxes off of your limited property value. You are not paying taxes off of your full cash value like you used to. And your limited property value is limited to go up 5% a year. It cannot go higher than that. So if you look at your full cash value and you see that it has increased, it doesn't mean anything according to your tax bill. Your tax bill is taxed off of your limited property value. It's real important that you know that. If you have any questions, my door's always open. Always call me, come see me. Don't forget that Monday's the deadline for senior freeze. That's all I got. Yes?
What's the difference between limited tax values and full tax values?
The difference is we used to pay certain of the jurisdictions out of the full cash, certain parts of the jurisdictions out of the limited, but now everything is coming out of the limited. Nothing's coming out of full cash anymore. So full cash really is what your value probably really is worth, but your limited may only increase 5% a year forevermore and can never go higher than your full cash. Okay? Yes? What is senior freeze? Senior freeze freezes your value, so your value cannot go up. You have to qualify for it by income, depending on your income. You have to show the proof of income. And it freezes your value for 3 years, and then you have to qualify for it again 3 years later. It freezes you for 3 years. So if you go to GilaCountyAZ.gov, go to my office, the assessor's office, go to senior freeze, you can get the forms, but Monday's the deadline. I put it in the newspaper hoping everyone would get the information that this is happening, but Monday's your deadline, so get it in there if you think you qualify for that. That's a good thing.
I thought that was the reason for old people turning up the heat all the time.
For old people turning up the heat. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Get it? Senior freeze.
Deborah Hughes, ladies and gentlemen. Deborah Hughes. I'd like to point out that the whole system of taxation, as far as property tax is concerned, here in Gila County, has had 100 years since, well, a little over 100 years now, since 1912 to get all gummed up. And it certainly has gotten all gummed up. It's very complicated, as Deborah Hughes tried to explain to us. And she's only been in office for a year and a half, and she hasn't quite got it all. Oh, 3! Well, boy, time passes, doesn't it? She's only been in office for 3 years, and she hasn't got it all untangled yet, but she is working on it. As I said before, her predecessor had been in there for 24 years and apparently didn't do much besides take long lunches. I don't want to say anything bad about the fella, but she had a big job as far as like cleaning out the stables when she took over. Rick Gray, would you like to come up and say a few words?
Hey, remind me about 50% off.
Oh, by the way, everybody out there, it's 50% off the marked prices on the Rummage. So you see a piece of Rummage out there, it's 50% off. That does not apply to the cookies, so cookies are full price. I'd like to welcome Rick Gray. Rick Gray is a sitting Arizona House of Representatives from District 22. 21. From District 21, which is down around Yeah, Peoria, Surprise, Sun City West, and
Sun City.
Sun City. Okay. I first met Rick, geez, a couple of years ago, I guess, down at the Goldwater Institute, where they one of their annual birthday parties for Milton Friedman, and he gave me some advice, just offhand, bit of wisdom that has served me well ever since, and I'm very pleased to welcome him to the microphone today. Rick Gray.
Thank you, Andy. Well, one of the things I do have to tell you, Andy is going all over the valley to publicize your event, because I went to a meeting at one of the GOP offices down in Sun City, actually, my hood, and here was Andy, and shared the fact that you were having this barbecue up here. So he's out there drumming up support. And one of the things I will say is I've heard a lot of things about this basin area. You guys have a reputation. It's seriously, and it's all good from the conservative side. So it's really a pleasure for me to come up here. Just to let you know, once I get in line here, I don't like it usually when somebody tells me to move to the left. I was a businessman. I got involved in politics because I actually had gotten some margin in my life, because I reduced my business down to it was just a small company, and I actually had some time. So I started getting involved in politics. I ended up running for office, actually ran for our district. Bob Burns was termed out in the Senate, so there was an opening in the House, and I ran for office. One of the reasons, and I am a candidate for the Arizona Corporation Commission, one of the reasons I'm running is because what the Corporation Commission does is very important in our district. In Sun City, we've got people, and I know several of them, and I'll give you an example of a lady who, her and her husband came. They had a business, they sold the business, they thought that they were going to have a cushion for the rest of their life financially, and with the ebb and flows of the economy and the crashes, and her husband got Alzheimer's, they saw their money dwindle down, and then he actually passed away. And she's one of those people that we have in our neighborhood that are living on $600 a month. When you do that, your utility rate is huge. $5 or $10 on a utility rate is huge. And so for me, I've actually been following what's going on at the Corporation Commission before I ran for the legislature, because I was involved in different organizations in my community. And it's been a key issue for me. When Bob Stump was termed out, I decided to make that transition from the legislature to the race for the Corporation Commission. So I'm honored to be up here asking for your vote, asking for signatures, asking for $5 contributions. One of the things I had somebody ask me about is I've got an issue, and I said, well, you know, as a Corporation Commission candidate, I've got to be careful what I say. And he said, well, what do you think about abortion? And I thought, well, you know, first of all, the Corporation Commission doesn't deal with that, but I can tell you point blank that I am pro-life. So that was enough to get his signature. That's one of the challenges with the legislature. You can say, this is where I'm at on these issues, and this is where I stand. At the Corporation Commission, you really can't, because you're not just a legislator. You're a judge, and a legislator, and an executive. So you have all of those capacities. So you have to really wait to say, what are all the information, all the data, all the specifics on a case before you make a decision. So I was very happy to have issues like that I could just say, you know, here's where I'm at. If you have any questions for me on any other topic, let me know. I'm more than happy to share my values, my background. Again, as has been stated before, on some of those issues, we can't be specific because we have to wait until we come to the case, because we will be judging that. So, and when I say that we need petition signatures and $5 contributions, I just want to say that I have got my first $5 contribution. I told Bill, I said, because I'm just starting the race, I said, Bill, I just want you to know I will remember you forever because you were my first $5 contribution. So, Bill, you have a question?
Andy did not share with us what you shared with him. Would you share with us what you did? Would you share that? You didn't tell us. The sage advice.
Okay, let me clarify. Didn't I did say I'm from Sun City. I don't remember what I told him. I do remember that I started a writers group where we actually had some people come in to talk about how to write, how to get the conservative message out. And when I look back on your contact information, you were on my list.
Yay.
So you either came down to that, and I think you did. But so yeah, Andy's been very involved. I don't remember what that was.
I'll tell you later, Bill.
Thank you.
I would like to say that just wisdom just flows so naturally all the time that I don't remember, but the bottom line is I just don't remember.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, and thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Rick. Thanks for coming all the way up here to see us. And the function that where Rick and I encountered one another down at Sun City well, a couple of weeks ago was another club member, Don Klein, and I went down. I went down to keep Don company because he went down and made an address to the people at Sun City on the issue of firearms in the United States. So I was very happy to do that, and while I was down there keeping Don company, I had an opportunity, of course, to meet some other people. And we like to do that sort of thing. I'm looking for... Oh, there we are. Yes, I'm looking for a school board member. Shirley Dye, would you like to come up and talk about the school board? Shirley is one of the exemplars of Republican virtue. Not only did she run and was elected to the Northern Arizona, or the Northern Gila County Sanitary District, but she also ran and was elected to the Payson Unified District School Board. So once again, folks, we have Shirley Dye. Shirley?
Thank you all once again. It was really quite a surprise to me when I was elected to both of those boards 3 years ago. And when I was elected to the school board, there was a whole lot of turmoil going on within the Payson Unified School District. We had closed one of our elementary schools to save money about a year prior. We had gone through a couple of different superintendents, and we had just hired on a superintendent that was a cradle-to-graver from Oregon, whose idea was, I tell you what to do, you just do it. We now, over this last couple of years, that superintendent really caused quite some havoc in the school district. Now we have a school superintendent who we are really enjoying very, very much. He is very open, very communicative, very interested in your point of view, and that has been really great. We have been transitioning into the Common Core standards over the last 3 years. There's still a lot of consternation about those standards. And the beyond textbooks, pacing calendar that the teachers have to use so that everybody in the state and everybody in the nation is teaching the exact same concept on the same day. We have been getting reports recently of our STAR testing in English, language arts, and math. And we've only been doing that for 3 years, and the results are that our kids are learning how to take tests on their iPads or their Chromebooks. And it is a tool for the teachers to be able to see where these children are having gaps. It measures what a child has missed so that that lesson can be reinforced once again. The as merit test that was administered last April was the first time we had gone from the Ames testing to the as merit test, and the general overall statewide results is that many of the students failed that test. So is it because the kids haven't learned how to take a test on a computer? Or is it the problem with the test or whatever? So I just found out this week that I have been selected to serve on the Arizona Parent and Community Members overview of the as-merit test. So we will spend 2 days, 8 hours a day for 2 days, going over all those as-merit test questions, trying to figure out, is it the way the question's worded? Is the question something that is going to lead these kids to be socially moved to the left, indoctrinated in other words, or whatever. So I won't be able to tell you what the questions are on the test because I'll be sworn to secrecy, but at least I'll be able to give some input from rural Arizona on the test and whether we think it's something that we need to adjust or whatever. There is also a big move. There's a committee that the governor put together to go over the standards, to review every one of the standards, and there's a huge committee that is working on all that. There's a committee working on the English language arts program and working on the math program so that we can tailor these things to Arizona. So it's been a very interesting 3 years again. The one thing that I really wanted to let you all know is every one of you goes to, I would hope, a church. There's tons of churches here in Payson. And do you know that the Democrats and the leftists, progressives, they start people in school boards for to go then on to town councils, to go to county supervisors, to go on to state offices, because they want those left-leaning people, usually running as Democrats or running as independents, to be able to get their shoe in on a fire board, a sanitary board, a school board. We need parents of Christians, church values people to run for school board. There are going to be 3 openings on the school board again. The chairman, Barbara Underwood, is rerunning, I am rerunning, and Jim Quinlan is rerunning. There will be 3 seats open. The 2 young Democrat gals that were elected 2 years ago, because we have 4-year terms and they're staggered, are doing very well. Actually, we're finding out that they're fairly conservative, so that's really good. But we need to find some young people that have school-age kids, besides us old folks, to run for school boards. So we look forward to you. I'm going to get a letter out to go to all the churches, to the young couples groups, to help try to encourage those. So if you know any of young people in your neighborhood, in their 40s or so, whose kids have been through elementary or maybe now in high school, we need to get those people to run for school board. So I thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Shirley Dye. Folks, the barbecue lunch is now ready. So if you would like, just line up over here. It's $5 for the lunch with the drink, including the drink. Oh, and don't forget on the Rummage, for you new people that have just come in, the Rummage is now 50% off. Whatever the price is marked on the Rummage, it's half price, half price, half price, half price, half price on the Rummage.
I assume you want lunch, that's why you jumped over.
We do have a full set of dishes over there that now it's been marked down $10 for the full set of dishes. This would be a nice set of dishes that you would like to have in your house and serve breakfast on. Remember, half price, half price, half price on the Rummage. Full price on the cookies. So please come by, get some cookies, get some Rummage. Judge Wright, would you like to come up and address the folks? Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure, my honor, and my delight to bring to the microphone now Judge Tim Wright. Tim is a stalwart of the Rim Country Republican Club, a hard worker, and our new Superior Court presiding judge in Gila County. Tim, thank you for coming today.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me start off. My name is Tim Wright, as Andy said. I've been your
Move to the right, that's okay. Okay, my name is Tim Wright. I've had the honor of being Gila County Superior Court Judge for the last 8 months, thanks to the citizens of Gila County electing me. I just wanted to take this opportunity this morning not to tell you necessarily about what I do. If any of you have groups that you want me to come speak at, get in touch with me, I'll do that. I wanted to just take a moment to issue some thank yous. First, thank you to the voters of Gila County that entrusted, yes, voters. It's the voters of Gila County that entrusted me with the position of Gila County Superior Court. So elections do matter. I suspect that the folks that are here today realize that. They matter in a lot of ways, so make sure you vote. Second thing, as Andy mentioned, I've had the honor to be appointed the presiding judge for the Gila County Superior Court. I guess they picked the guy with the most experience at 8 months, but people ask me what that means. That means I have administrative responsibility for all the Gila County courts, the justice courts, all the magistrate courts, and also over adult probation. So it's a big thing. Mainly for me, what it means is more paperwork, more signing my name, more meetings. So one of the things, though, I do like about that, it gives me the opportunity to work not only in the court, but on the court. One of the things I enjoy seeing is efficiency. I know efficiency and government don't always go hand in hand. Part of that is because in government we're worried about protecting people's rights, we're worried about justice, and there's a process we have to go through. But what I want to do is make sure we get as an efficient of a court system in Gila County as is possible within those parameters of protecting justice. So people wait less, cases move quicker. Finally, I want you to know, as residents of Gila County, that the staff you have that work in the Gila County Superior Court are excellent. When I came in eight months ago, the judicial assistant who was there agreed to stay on, Emma Yeoman. She is excellent. She is extremely helpful, extremely hardworking. I don't think the staff I've encountered, they would not, there's so many things bad said about some government employees. Some of them deserve it. I don't see that in our Gila County Superior Court. We have excellent people that work there. Let me give you an example of that. Yesterday, it's Friday afternoon. Judge Chambers has been appointed by the governor but hasn't started yet, so the other judge and I are sort of stacking calendars. So I have a mix of domestic relations cases and juvenile cases. What that means is 5 o'clock rolled around and we were still going. Okay? How many of you want to be at work at after 5 on Friday? No one. Okay? I can tell you our court staff, a couple of them stayed with me. Luckily we got done by 5:30, but they didn't complain. They realized that the citizens of Gila County that showed up for court that day deserved to have the hearings that were scheduled. So that's the kind of dedication we have from our staff here in Gila County. So just wanted to say thanks to those people, and again, thanks to all of you. My commitment is to do justice, to look at each case, respect individuals, and maintain my humility. I realize that the most important person in the courtroom is the litigants, the victims, not the judge who sits up front. So thank you very much.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly why we think so much of Judge Tim Wright. He's just a great, great guy. There's another level of jurisprudence in Gila County, that is the Justice Court. And in Gila County, where we live, in the northern part of Gila County, we are pleased and blessed to have as our judge of the Justice Court, Judge Dorothy Little. Judge Dorothy Little, of course, since this is the Republican Club Fandango, would you like to come up and just say hello, Dorothy? She is a Republican, and I am happy to say that Judge Little is such a ferocious campaigner that the opposition party dares not even to contemplate putting an opponent up before her because they know what would happen. Judge Little.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yay!
I really want to thank the Republican Club for putting this together. All the volunteers who help, all the bakers who show up, the food that they provide to us, and all the money that they make so that we can support who we want to support in the next election. And I appreciate your vote when I run for office, and I will run again, but right now I've got 3 years to go. Okay.
Thank you, Judge Little. Oh, yes, while we're kind of on the law enforcement end of things, I'd like to point out that now we have, of course, our Justice Court Judge, Judge Little. We have our 2 Superior Court judges. They are Republicans now, safely in our camp. The County Attorney, Bradley Beauchamp, is also a Republican. And for the first time in 100 years, we have an elected sheriff in the Republican Party, Sheriff Adam Shepard. Yay! And this sheriff is the real deal, folks. Here he is.
Whatever the real deal is. Hey, you know, I don't really have a whole heck of a lot to bring to you. I won't bore you, but I would like to point out a couple things that I have been. We have a place to stand. Okay, got it. Everybody can hear, right? So that what has meant to me so much the last couple of years that I've been serving you is the support that I get from the community, from this club. It's overwhelming, and I tell you what, it makes a hard job a heck of a lot easier when people come up to you. You know, there's a lot of assaults on the law enforcement profession, people just taking things out of context and jumping to conclusions before they even know the facts, and this community is not like that, I can tell you that. Because you know, they could just as easily get on the national bandwagon and do that. But these folks are confident that the people that you put in office make sure that the people are serving you correctly, and I appreciate all of the support on that. The one thing that many of you know that have heard me before that I tried to push in the agency when I came into it was the outreach, making the things in the office much easier to obtain. And if you haven't already and you use Facebook, I hope that you're logged on to our Facebook page. It's one of the things we're proud of, and I can tell you that I was a skeptic. I did never see how Facebook would ever help my profession, and I couldn't get my head wrapped around it. I can tell you though, with not only being able to get information out almost instantly to the community, and it doesn't cost us anything, but also the comments on people that are commenting on some of the stuff that we're doing really means a lot. And we actually do read those comments, believe it or not, even if they're negative. I can tell you a quick example of that is 2 weeks ago, we had a burglary down on the southern end, and the suspect was actually loose in the community, but the people knew who it was. And they kept talking about it on Facebook, and we kept picking up the conversation. Well, the next thing you know, we sent a couple of officers out, you know, found out that yes, there was indeed some evidence that did point out that that person was the one involved, and made an arrest right there on it. So, and the folks were talking negatively, like the sheriff's office isn't doing anything, cops won't do nothing to this guy, and that night he was spending the night in jail and he's still there. So I can tell you that your comments and your feedback to us really does matter. We listen to it, and we actually do absorb it into the organization. There's also some other things that are important on there that I like to point out. Every time I talk to you guys, and so some of you have heard it before, but our anonymous tip line, that we actually do pay for that service, and we run that every couple of weeks on our Facebook. It's got the telephone number. It's a very easy one to remember. And you are absolutely anonymous crime. As a matter of fact, if you try to identify yourself by giving us some kind of a crime tip, they'll stop you right there and say, we have to stop this call. Please call us back, and next time don't identify yourself in any way. We have actually made cases on those anonymous tips like that. I can tell you they're invaluable. The people that know what's going on in our communities are the people that live in them. I can tell you that right now. And that's the kind of information that we need to kind of help stem the tide of the things that's going on over there. You know that I talk to you a lot about our drug problem. You guys have read it in the newspaper, I'm sure. And we talk quite a bit about it because, as you know, that I believe that drives a lot of our other criminal activity. like burglaries and stuff, people to support the habits and assaults and so forth that go on like that. We certainly keep that fight up. As a matter of fact, we just got 3 more officers up on the northern end to be part of that task force, and we're going to get another one coming up in the next couple of months from the Department of Public Safety to help us with that as well. So this is becoming a very effective. I'm sure that if you read the paper or read our stuff on Facebook, you know that we're very successful at finding the drugs out there that it's killing our communities. So that's something that we're going to keep the fight up, I can tell you that right now. Another thing that's very effective for us is keeping officers in the schools, because for a couple of reasons. We can stop things before they get large. While we're in there, we can see what's going on, and we can enforce whatever laws need to be taken care of there, but it also gives the kids that are in our schools a better relationship with law enforcement, so they're not so isolated when they get older, and they will help keep their community clean instead of being part of the problem. Those are some of the things that we've been working on. Like I said, I really appreciate your folks' feedback. It means a lot to us. We act on it, we do something about it, and other than that, thank you very much for coming out today and helping us out. And we have a question, apparently.
No, I would like to, we are going to draw for the rifles. And
you want to do that now?
Wait, I have one thing I want to say.
Okay.
Sheriff, what I'd like to say is that the Case and Tea Party, what we like the most about you is that you're a constitutionalist and that you understand you are the supreme law officer in this county.
One thing you want to do with that kind of a responsibility is not to overdo it. Use it when it's needed, and of course you know that I'm out there for you all the time. And again, and even at those meetings when folks come up and talk to me, you can't imagine how much that helps me kind of direct the agency and the things that we need to know, because me sitting at a desk doesn't tell me very much about what you guys need out there. So when are we going to do the...
Right now.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So you're going to make me have one happy person and several thousand unhappy people.
Oh, you get 3 draws, Sheriff.
Okay, I can move now?
Yeah. Dawn, are you going to follow him?
Minutes. I want to acknowledge Mike White here. He is one of our volunteers. I can tell you what, I should have remembered to say something about it, because volunteers in my organization have more volunteers than I actually do paid people in my organization. And I can tell you that they serve this community like you would not believe. Mike is actually one of he actually has a certification to carry a weapon, so he'll actually see him with the gun on, just like in an enforcement type of a thing. Absolutely for free, doesn't charge me a dime, and we have a very, very large, over several hundred people that volunteer to the organization that help the community out. I can't tell you how invaluable that is. I can't say enough about it. Thank you, Mike, and many like you.
Close your eyes.
Okay, here it goes.
The first place winner on the right.
Have them closed, everybody sees, right?
First place winner is...
There you go.
Damon Fetty. Damon Fetty.
Did you hear it? There it is.
Okay, Damon.
All right.
I need you to...
Choice, I guess.
And he gets all of this too.
That's ammo? And he chooses the Smith & Wesson MP15 23 with 1,000 rounds of ammo. All right. Don't forget that next year. Here we go. There it is.
Andy McKinney.
you. Thank you, Rim Country Republican Club.
Okay, one more time, huh? Mix them up real good. There it is.
Sam Stovall. Sam Stovall.
We have a number for him. It looks like it's out valid.
All right, Sam Stovall.
Sam Stovall. Now we got to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be random here.
Andy?
All right, congratulations to the winners. Thanks, everybody.
Warren Hawkins? Warren Hawkins?
Warren Hawkins.
That's it, guys. Thank you.
All